A local caver exploring a known cave system felt a faint, cold draft of air coming from a tiny, insignificant crack in the rock wall. To an ordinary person, it would have been nothing. But to a seasoned caver, a draft of air where there should be none is a sign, a tantalizing promise that a much larger, unknown world lies just beyond the stone. For years, he and his team worked tirelessly to widen this tiny crack, and when they finally broke through, the tunnel they uncovered led them to a place so vast, so pristine, and so beautiful it was like discovering a new continent hidden deep beneath the surface of the earth. But before we start our story, smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and hit that notifications bell so you won't miss any of our new, incredible stories. To understand this incredible discovery, we must first journey to a unique and magical landscape in the heart of Europe, the Karst Plateau of Slovenia. This is not a land of ordinary mountains and valleys. It is a world made of limestone, a soft, porous rock that has been sculpted by water over millions of years into a geological wonderland. This process is known as karstification. As rainwater absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, it becomes a weak carbonic acid. Over eons, this slightly acidic water seeps into the cracks of the limestone bedrock, slowly, patiently dissolving the rock and carrying it away. The result is a surreal landscape on the surface, with strange sinkholes and disappearing rivers that plunge directly into the earth. But the true magic of the Karst region lies hidden beneath the ground. Here, the water has carved out one of the most extensive and spectacular networks of underground caves, chambers, and rivers in the entire world. It is a subterranean kingdom, a three-dimensional labyrinth of breathtaking beauty. The most famous of these is Postojna Cave, a 24-kilometer-long system of caverns that is so vast and so beautiful it has been a world-famous tourist attraction for over 200 years. It was in 1872 that the world's first underground railway was built inside the cave, a remarkable feat of engineering that still carries millions of visitors today through its grand, cathedral-like chambers, past forests of shimmering stalactites and stalagmites. But Postojna is also a biological treasure trove. Its dark, underground rivers are home to one of the most bizarre and fascinating creatures on the planet, the olm, or Proteus anguinus. The olm is a species of aquatic salamander that is completely adapted to a life of eternal darkness. It is pale, almost translucent, completely blind, and it breathes through a set of feathery red external gills. The locals in the Middle Ages, when they would occasionally find these strange creatures washed out of the caves by floods, believed they were the babies of a great dragon that lived deep within the mountains. The olm is a true survivor. It can live to be 100 years old and can survive for up to a decade without eating. It is the undisputed king of this subterranean world. For centuries, it was believed that the great caves like Postojna had revealed all their major secrets. But the true explorers of this region, the speleologists or cavers, knew that the underground world was far larger than what the tourists saw. They knew that for every grand, known cavern, there were likely hundreds of kilometers of undiscovered passages still waiting to be found. Our story's protagonists are a team of these dedicated explorers from a local Slovenian caving club. These are not thrill seekers. They are patient, methodical scientists and athletes, driven by a passion for discovery and a deep respect for the fragile underground environment. For years, the team had been mapping a lesser-known section of the vast cave network connected to Postojna. It was during one of these expeditions that a caver, resting against a rock wall deep inside the cave, felt it, a faint but steady current of cold air coming from a tiny, mud-filled crack in the limestone wall. This was the moment that began their incredible quest. In the science of caving, a steady draft of air is an almost certain sign that the small crack it's coming through is connected to a much larger, open space on the other side. A large, undiscovered cave system breathes, with air moving in and out as the barometric pressure on the surface changes. They knew, with a caver's intuition, that this tiny crack was a doorway. What followed was not a dramatic, explosive breakthrough, but an act of incredible, painstaking patience that would last for years. Week after week, month after month, the team of volunteer cavers would make the long journey deep into the cave to work on the crack. Using small, simple hand tools, they began the slow, arduous process of widening the opening. They chipped away at the rock, and they dug out the thick, sticky clay that had choked the passage for thousands of years. It was grueling, often frustrating work, performed in the cold, damp, and absolute darkness of the underground. Then, after years of relentless effort, the moment of breakthrough arrived. One of the cavers, digging at the far end of the now widened tunnel, broke through the final barrier of rock and mud. A small hole opened up, but what came out of that hole was a powerful, constant wind, a rush of cold, pristine air that smelled of deep, untouched earth and vast, open water. It was the confirmation they had been working for. The cave system on the other side was not just large, it was immense. They carefully widened the opening until it was just large enough for one person to squeeze through. They shone their most powerful lights into the darkness, but the beams were simply swallowed by a blackness so profound they could not see the other side. They were staring into a void, a massive, undiscovered part of the cave that no human had ever seen before. The real exploration was about to begin. The first caver to squeeze through the narrow, newly created opening was the one who had first felt the draft years ago. It was a tense and emotional moment for the entire team. As he emerged on the other side, his voice, crackling over their radios, was filled with a single word, repeated over and over again in a whisper of pure, unadulterated awe. Unbelievable, unbelievable. One by one, the other members of the team followed him, entering a part of the Earth that had been completely sealed off from the outside world, a pristine, subterranean wilderness that had never before been seen by human eyes. The tunnel they had spent years digging opened up into a chamber so vast, so immense, that their powerful headlamps could not even illuminate the far wall. It was a cathedral of eternal night, a cavern the size of a football stadium, its ceiling dripping with colossal, glistening stalactites, some as large as ancient trees. This was just the beginning. As they ventured deeper, they discovered that this single chamber was just an entryway to an even larger, more complex system. They found a powerful, fast-flowing underground river, its water crystal clear and achingly cold, carving a path through the darkness. They discovered vast, silent underground lakes, their surfaces as still and reflective as black glass. And everywhere they looked, there was a breathtaking and almost overwhelming display of cave formations, or speleothems, of every imaginable shape and size, and strange, gravity-defying crystal formations known as helictites. To understand the beauty of what they had found, you must understand the incredible patience of nature. Every single one of these magnificent structures was built by a single, humble force, a drop of water. As acidic rainwater seeps through the limestone rock, it dissolves a tiny, microscopic amount of the mineral calcite. When this drop of water then seeps through the ceiling of a cave and is exposed to the air, it releases its carbon dioxide and deposits its microscopic cargo of calcite, one drop of water, leaving behind one invisible crystal of calcite. This process, repeated over and over again, drip by agonizingly slow drip, for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years, is what builds these colossal stone icicles. A single large stalactite is a monument to a span of time that is almost impossible for the human mind to comprehend. And in this newly discovered cave, these formations were everywhere, and they were perfect. Because no human had ever entered this chamber, they were in a pristine, untouched state, a fragile, crystal garden that had grown in absolute silence and darkness since the dawn of time. As they explored, the team also discovered that this hidden world was not lifeless. They found unique species of troglobites, or cave-dwelling creatures, that were perfectly adapted to this isolated ecosystem. There were translucent, shrimp-like crustaceans swimming in the underground rivers, and blind, white spiders weaving their webs in the eternal darkness. These were creatures whose entire evolutionary history had taken place in this single, sealed-off cave system, a unique biological treasure trove. After several expeditions to map and document their incredible discovery, the team of cavers finally announced their find to the scientific community. It was hailed as one of the most significant speleological discoveries in Europe in decades. But with this great discovery came a great and difficult question. The main Postojna Cave system is a major tourist attraction, visited by millions. Should this new, pristine extension also be open to the public? The cavers and the Slovenian authorities made a difficult but wise decision. They decided to keep the exact location of the entrance a closely guarded secret. They knew that opening this fragile world to mass tourism would inevitably destroy it. The simple act of thousands of people breathing in the chambers would alter the delicate balance of temperature and humidity. The lights would encourage the growth of algae on the pure white crystals, staining them green forever, and the accidental touch of a single hand could destroy a formation that had taken 10,000 years to grow. They decided that this cave was too precious, too perfect to be sacrificed. Its purpose was not to be a tourist attraction, but a scientific sanctuary, a pristine underground laboratory that would be accessible only to a small number of scientists for study. The story of the discovery is a profound testament to the spirit of exploration. It is a story of how a team of dedicated, patient volunteers, driven by a simple curiosity about a faint draft of air, managed to uncover a new, hidden world. Their reward was not fame or fortune, but the profound and humbling privilege of being the first humans to ever lay eyes on a subterranean masterpiece that had been waiting in the darkness for millennia. And it is a powerful reminder that even in our modern, well-mapped world, there are still vast, spectacular, and undiscovered worlds right beneath our feet, waiting to be found